Who were the Cossacks? And why do their stories still echo across Ukraine and Russia today? These fierce warriors lived on the frontiers of empires, known for their freedom and independence. But their story is more complex than myth. They were also mercenaries, raiders, and sometimes instruments of imperial rule. Today, we explore the real history of the Cossacks, the good, the bad, and everything in between. The term Cossack comes from the Turkic word Kazak, meaning free man or adventurer. This name captured the spirit of those who fled the strict feudal hierarchies of Eastern Europe in search of freedom and opportunity. By the 15th century, runaway serfs, adventurers, and even criminals gathered along the frontiers of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, the Russian Tsardom, and the Ottoman Empire. They formed communities in the vast untamed lands along the Dnieper, Don, Kuban, and Ural rivers, regions where the reach of kings and czars was weak. These settlements became known as Sikhs, part fortress, part semi-democratic republic. Cossacks elected their leaders, called atamans or hetmans, and operated on a rough code of equality, at least among men. But the Cossack world wasn't a single nation. Different hosts formed along different rivers. The Don Cossacks near the Don River in modern-day southern Russia, the Kuban Cossacks along the Black Sea coast, the Terek Cossacks in the Caucasus, and the most famous, the Zaporizhian Cossacks, based on the lower Dnieper in what's now Ukraine. This diversity shaped their identity, sometimes Ukrainian, sometimes Russian, often both, and sometimes neither, a testament to the multicultural chaos of the borderlands. Life as a Cossack was built around defense, raiding, and the pursuit of freedom, but also opportunity. From a young age, Cossack men trained to ride horses, wield sabers, and shoot with deadly accuracy. They also learned to navigate rivers and fortify their camps. While celebrated for their independence, Cossacks were no strangers to violence. They raided Ottoman territories, captured slaves, and plundered settlements along the Black Sea and beyond. Some of their most famous exploits, like the Zaporozhians' raids on the Crimean Peninsula, made them folk heroes in Ukrainian legend, but also fearsome enemies in the eyes of their neighbors. Religion played a crucial role, too. Most Cossacks were Orthodox Christians, and they saw themselves as defenders of the faith against Muslim powers like the Ottomans or Tatars. This sense of religious duty, mixed with a desire for loot, made them both defenders and predators on the borderlands. Cossacks were free, but freedom on the steppe was dangerous. To survive, they often served as mercenaries or allies to powerful states. The Zaporizhian Cossacks sometimes fought for the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth against the Ottomans, but also rebelled against Polish rule in the name of Orthodox faith and local autonomy. The most famous revolt was the Khmelnytsky Uprising of 1648, led by Bohdan Khmelnytsky. What began as a rebellion against Polish oppression turned into a brutal war that devastated much of Ukraine. Seeking protection, the Zaporizhian Cossacks pledged allegiance to the Russian Tsar in 1654, a decision that would ultimately tie them to the growing Russian Empire. Over time, the Russian state both used and feared the Cossacks. They were deployed as border guards and cavalry in imperial armies, fighting the Ottomans, Persians, and even participating in campaigns against Napoleonic France. Yet their rebellious spirit often led to revolts, like the Pugachev Rebellion in the 18th century, where Cossacks and peasants alike rose up against Catherine the Great's reforms. By the late 18th century, Catherine the Great saw the independent Cossacks as a threat. In 1775, she ordered the destruction of the Zaporizhian Sich, dissolving their independence and relocating many Cossacks to the Kuban region, where they served as loyal imperial soldiers. Under Russian rule, the Cossacks lost much of their self-governance, but remained a key part of the empire's military machine. They fought in the Napoleonic Wars, the Caucasus Wars, and even in World War I. During the Russian Revolution and Civil War, Cossacks fought on both sides. Some supported the Bolsheviks, others fiercely resisted them. Today, Cossack identity is claimed by different groups. In Ukraine, the Zaporizhian Cossacks are celebrated as symbols of national pride and resistance, a proud part of Ukrainian heritage. In Russia, Cossack traditions are honored too, but often as part of imperial legacy rather than a symbol of rebellion. Modern-day Cossack organizations in both countries keep traditions alive through cultural festivals, paramilitary service, and historical reenactments. The Cossacks were more than just warriors. They were a product of their turbulent times. Raiders, rebels, border guards, and empire builders. They left a mark on the history of Eastern Europe that's still felt today. Their story is a reminder that freedom is never simple, and that history is always more complex than legend. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the past.